Everything's been taken away from Job. He is in suffering with boils all over his body, and he's there in mourning. And his friend comes to comfort him. Chapter 8, verse 1 and 2 says, Then Bildad the Shuhite answered, How long will you say these things, and the words of your mouth be a great wind? Does God pervert justice, or does the Almighty pervert the right? If your children have sinned against him, he has delivered them into the power of their transgression. What words of comfort from his friend. You're suffering. God must be punishing you. Your kids have died. They must have done something wrong. God's out to get them. Job comes back and says in chapter 9, verse 1, Truly I know that it is so, but how can a man be just before God? If one wished to contend with him, one could not answer him once in 1,000 times. Job sort of believes what they're saying, and it causes him anguish. And he comes and he says, How can a human being be just before God? How can you stand before God and argue with him? In order to understand this, we need to go back to the beginning and understand that God looked down and declared Job perfect in his generations, declared him to be righteous and upright. This is not a punishment on Job. This is not a punishment on his children. See, when we take the bad things that happen in our life and we attribute them to God punishing us, we do God a great injustice. There is an enemy out there who wants to cause us suffering and grief. He is the one responsible for the bad things in our life. And the book of Job helps us to understand that. It helps us to understand that God is for us and not against us. So remember that when you're suffering, when you're going through difficulties, your God is not the one that's out to get you. He is for you. He will never leave you. He will never forsake you.